Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by lineups.com. Nate and Josh here on a Monday, getting some futures looks for you now that we have some of the seeding down here for the playoffs. Still have those play-in games, and we will have those games for you in a separate episode. So make sure you are subscribed to that channel. Continue to follow along. We're going to get into some futures here. Like I said, find some value. Before we even have those play-in games done, we think you could take advantage of some spots here. So let's get into your first look, Nate, as we're talking about these Denver Nuggets, former champions, and you think they have a good number here to take right now to win the title.
Best value on the board, in my opinion. I mean, they're 6-1 to win the West, but I think you can pretty much double that and say they could take down the Eastern champion. You can maybe hedge out of it if they're able to get there. And I think there's such value because they probably have the most intriguing first round series, at least in the West, when they get the Wolves here, and the Wolves have beaten them, just 2 years ago. So that there's kind of an even implied probability for the Wolves and the Nuggets making a run, according to Basketball Reference. I just disagree with that completely. Like, I don't think the Wolves are going anywhere if they are able to upset the Nuggets, but I think the Nuggets can beat anyone. Mainly, I think they're a good matchup for the Spurs, and I will probably be doubling down if we get that 2-3. I think the way that they can spread you out and play this methodical, ball whipping around is maybe the antidote for what Wemby brings. They're not a team that's going to be getting into the paint and ducking Wemby. Also, Jamal Murray, capable of beating you from the perimeter, playing out of his mind right now. And so then we project they get OKC, of course, in the Western Conference Finals. And look, are the Thunder better this year? I mean, J-Dub has hardly played. The Chet Holmgren offense is still lacking. The supporting cast offense is still lacking for SGA. He is obviously fantastic. Can put up 30 every game. But we saw cracks in the armor down the stretch in the playoffs. I mean, for the Indiana Pacers, basically being like, who else is going to score in the freaking finals? And this Nuggets team, if they were healthy, probably beats them. They were showing cracks in terms of what do you have offensively, right? All those slugfests with OKC in that 7-game series, and Aaron Gordon gets hurt, Murray's playing hurt all year. Now we have Peyton Watson has ascended to being a really valuable guy and a potential matchup for SGA to slow him down a little bit. There's more shooting for the Nuggets. The Thunder, they might not be able to exploit the biggest weakness for the Nuggets, which is their wing 3 and corner 3 defense. And this is just a team that has been underrated. When they take people, when they have an opponent they really take seriously, they step up, as evidenced by the second best record against the spread as underdogs, the second best record against the spread on the road. We know Denver can step up, and just because they drop games or don't look good defensively against the dregs of the NBA does not reflect how they're going to play in May down the stretch.
Yeah, I'm with it. I mean, the only comeback I have, not even against what you're saying, but maybe just like a potential suggestion here, is because I do think the Celtics are good to win the whole thing. So when you were talking about that 6-1 for the Nuggets to make it out of the West, I mean, look, you almost double it by taking the finals pick. So you're not going to get a better number on the finals bet here for the Nuggets. I just don't know that because they make it out of the West, that means that every team out of the West should just be like, well, once we win the West, we won the title. I just don't think it's like that anymore with the Celtics. I think there's really 4 teams, and if you want to count the Nuggets fully healthy as that 5th team, then I'm with it, because fully healthy with Aaron Gordon, I totally agree that they can win against anybody. I just think even at the half the odds of what you're talking about for the Nuggets to come out of the West, just love this for the Celtics. And I think the only reason it is half of what it is for them versus the Nuggets is because they don't have to play the Thunder potentially until they get, or the Spurs potentially until they get to the final. So they just have an easier road to it. And look, I'm not going to poo-poo the Pistons, but I'm going to poo-poo everybody else in the East when it comes to playing against Boston specifically. What type of team does it take to beat Boston? In my opinion, it's someone that can kind of like the way the Timberwolves beat the Celtics on a random Sunday or Saturday when they just played at 110 pace and we're like, we'll just keep going. Bones Highland shooting the first 10 seconds of the shot clock. Just keep going, go. That's the only way I can really see them, a team trying to sort of put the Celtics out of sorts, because in the half court, the Celtics are as good as anybody. And they're not bad in transition by any means. It's just that in the half court on both sides of the floor, when they dictate how fast the game moves, which is at the slowest pace if they have their druthers, then on offense, they're going to be able to get shots better than the other team. And on defense, they've proven that they just collapse everything and force you to do exactly what you don't want to do with the way Missoula's defense plays, whether it's catch and shoot or overcrowding the ball handler. They can do both, and they collapse the paint better as well as anybody. With Jason Tatum now, they're just as good. There's really no difference. They're 13-3 with him on the season. Obviously, in a lot of those games, 2 of them were missing JB, 2 of them were missing Derek White. So even when Jason Tatum's been here, they haven't even given him his full sort of cavalry of players around him. And if you're worried about Jaylen Brown, I think it's fair to say that Jaylen Brown is 1A and 1A. I really don't want to put him anywhere below Tatum. You can look at Tatum as sort of the leader of the team. He's a more vocal player. That's fine. He's a little bit more enigmatic in that way. But like Jaylen Brown is averaging 28 a night with Jason Tatum around. He's taking 3 fewer shots and 2 fewer free throw attempts. He's more efficient, which is terrifying. I think that there's just 2 guys that can beat you at the end of the game every time. Every single time they have 2 guys that are as good or better than your closers at this point. I just think that's going to carry them to the finals. And when you put them up against like the Thunder or any of those teams, the scariest one to me would be the Spurs. I think they have at least a 50-50 shot of beating both the other squads.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the Spurs making it though. So you're good there. I know people are infatuated with Wemby and are willing to buck the young guys can't make it, but I just don't buy it in that Western Conference, given who they're going to have to go up with. But I think at the same time, like throwing the Pistons under the bus as far as they can't make it is unfair. But I mean, we're just talking them to basically win 2 series here to make the Eastern Conference Finals, not to actually make the finals at 2-1. I mean, it's basically, can they beat the Cavs in my mind? Like they probably get the Hornets, assuming the Hornets, I mean, they have to win 2 play-in games to get there. Otherwise they get these disheveled Magic or Sixer squad in the first round. And that just seems like an auto win. They have that fire against Charlotte now after the brawl and absolutely bodied them the last time they played, right? 25-10 in the fourth quarter, outscored them by 20 in the paint. I mean, and you could just bet Detroit minus 225 to win that first round series right now. And that's good EV in my mind. So then you get the Cavs or Raptors. And once again, it's a motivation spot because the Cavs, as we pointed out, have been ducking the Boston Celtics for 2 weeks and trying to set up a matchup with the Pistons, who are now going to be like, okay, you wanted that smoke. Yeah, you remember Jared Allen getting absolutely bullied by Mitchell Robinson in the playoffs a couple of years ago. Well, here's Jalen Duren. He is even stronger and can play the entire game and is far more functional offensively. We have matchups for Donnie and Harden. We have, again, that kind of underdog spirit. They're 13-2 ATS as dogs this year. That's the best record in the NBA. The only weakness is, can you hit threes? But in the playoffs, as it slows down and as you have to score more in the paint, Detroit can own the paint on both sides. I think you feel pretty confident about that. And yeah, if they get the Raptors, that's just a gift in terms of like, okay, we're going to play that interior type of, offense, defense. I mean, what is the concern here? Is it Cade's health? Is it the outside shooting? Like, what would make you worry that the Pistons can't win 2 series?
I guess just the matchup is really what it comes down to. I suppose, right? Like they're probably looking at I'm going to give the Cavs the nod. We'll say that they're going to beat the Raptors there and take that second round. But I'm not worried about them at all. I'm not worried about the Cavs. It would be like some random James Harden goes off and doesn't have 3 or 4 bad games in a 7-game series, or some version of Donnie going crazy. But I just don't see what they're going to do on defense to stop the Pistons in any way, other than maybe if the Pistons can't shoot. There you go. How they lose, it's that they can't shoot, and Mobley and Allen play out of their mind. Maybe Thomas Bryant gives them 13 good minutes a game. It's going to be that kind of weirdness if this Pistons just can't make a shot. And I'm okay. Herter, Duncan, like they're going to be all right. I think they're going to be fine. So I like this bet as well. I really like this bet, to be honest with you. I think the plus 270 for them not to make the playoffs, taking advantage of the fact that they are in the 7-8 game, so they only have to win once technically. But look, the biggest threat to this bet is that Orlando is just, there's nothing nice to say about them. They just lost to the Celtics backups, which I think was relatively predictable. I think 13.5 was silly. I mean, they sat Desmond Bane for what it's worth. Franz being healthy is key, though. And I think at the end of the day, in one game with those players and without Embiid for the Sixers, I'm just going to take them to lose that game. And then I do think they're going up against, honestly, I want to say the Hornets, but I think I feel the way about the Hornets the way I do that you were talking about the Spurs, which is like, let's Kamate a little bit. I don't know that they arrive. Like they got to beat Spo in one game here to even survive. And I'm more scared of that for the Hornets. I think whoever wins that game, obviously, because I'm taking this bet, beats the 76ers in that second game. So if you want to start with the matchups, it's fine. Like I said, I'm not I'm aware that the Magic are not world beaters, but I think that they're going to be fine against this squad. And that's really what it comes down to. So the 76ers with Joel Embiid this season, 24-14. Sad. He can't get above 40 games. 21-23 without him. Everything is much worse. They score 7 points fewer per game without him. Their offensive rating, notably 7 points worse per 100. The D rating goes up by about 2 as well, up to 116.5 on the D rating. They play kind of slow no matter what. You'd think they'd speed up without Joel, but they really don't. They can't get anything going, man. And Maxey, as good as he's been, especially to start the season, there was a bit of a come down back to really just coming back down to earth, where it was like, look, we don't need to worry about the others nearly as much as Maxey when it comes down to it. 29.5 points seems a bit high, despite how good he is and how bad the Magic have been at defending the point of attack. I do think with their full slew of players, like they can handle that. Everything's just down, man. Joel's not coming back unless they make it to probably the second round. I think it was 2 to 4 weeks was like one of the doctor's timetables for him after the appendicitis surgery, the whatever you call it. And at this point, you shouldn't expect him around. I don't think they'll be around when he is healthy to play.
Right. I mean, the only concern here is the Magic on the road, that the Sixers would have to lose 2 games in front of their home fans, and that this is a franchise and fans that have dealt with intentional losing for a long time. But there is a theory that the Sixers, with all the veterans on the team, might just want to be in the lottery. Like given the situation with Embiid, that they might have no problem losing these next 2 games and not getting smacked by the Celtics or what have you. I mean, there's just not like a Jalen Suggs, a Dylan Brooks, a psychopath on this team to be like, no, we're going out there and we're giving it our all. Like we've seen when they're down bad. There's nothing to really hang your hat on as far as their competitiveness. I'm going to take Portland to not make the playoffs. They will have to lose at Phoenix. And then I think if they do, I would love to hold a plus 220 money line ticket on either the Clippers or the Warriors as currently constructed to go into Portland and send them home. And I think you probably can double down on the Clips if that's the matchup, because they've lost 2 in a row to Portland, right? I think Ty Lue is absolutely holding back in that 8-9 seed game, thinking about all the ways he can push the advantages against Thiago Splitter, who's a brand new coach, right? I mean, Ty Lue, a master in the playoffs, be like, whatever, you guys can have home court. Like we can go in there. I mean, I don't think you want to be in the 9-10. I'm not saying it's an intentional loss, but I think he has more cards to play. Or, I mean, you get Steph against this team that has struggled to guard the 3-point line at times. A team that's really struggled against good offenses. Like they have fantastic defensive rating against bad teams. They don't do it against good teams. And the Avdia straight line drive does not work as well against good teams. It's probably not going to work as well in the playoffs and the way the game's officiated at that point. And that's why they're 16-33 against teams with winning records. And that's why they have one of the worst offensive ratings in the clutch, if this gets down to it, since the All-Star break. They just play with wild pace in those fourth quarters. Everything's going to slow down. You're going to be put in a box. And other than Drew Holiday, I don't know who really has the poise to execute in those situations for Portland. I certainly would take the veteran teams of the Clips or the Warriors over them.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I mean, I obviously I like the Suns. They're favored for a reason in that one, and it's not a huge spread by any means because this is a much healthier Blazers team. But I still like the look of the Suns, and then I completely agree that like I like a plus 220 ticket on Steph or Kawhi. Essentially, is what we're saying here. And there's a few more guys for the Clips. I'm not ready to give anybody much credit on the Dubs, but it's the Steph Curry effect that would still make me like that ticket in that situation. So. Giving Jaylen Brown his flowers again, got a couple numbers to add to why it makes sense if I like the Celtics. Like taking him to win the Finals MVP or Jason Tatum at this point is a nice way to just get a double your even triple your odds here on a bet for the Celtics to win the chip. So I don't mind adding both of those bets to this one, but I'm taking Jaylen because of a couple of things. I mean, One, I have 2 series in a row of calling Jaylen Brown to be the MVP of the conference finals 2 years ago and the finals in both those games, and feeling pretty good about those and coming off those W's with him, but also really liking the way that he's played since Jason Tatum came back. And that's what I was talking about, which is there's really no difference in his stats. He's at 28 a night. He's taking 1.5 more free throws. He's taking 3 fewer shots, and he's still scoring the same amount of points. The rebounds go down a smidge, but the assists are still at the same number, basically 5.5 versus 5.1 with Tatum. So, I mean, it's like basically the same numbers there, which really make me like this. Then I got to go to the clutch, and I just look at the last 15 games. Tatum's been around for roughly like 18 or 19, missed 2 or 3 in there. He's played in 16 of them, but just dating back to the games that he's even been available and who's been taking those shots in the clutch, haven't been that many clutch games. Obviously, towards the end of the season, there's 2, tiers of teams, one that's trying, one that's not. And so there's not a lot of close games in those situations when those 13.5 spreads are common, but he's taking more shots. He's taking about 3 shots in the clutch in the 3 games they've played since Tatum's been back. He's averaging 6 a night. It's actually good for 4th in the league in that time frame. He's still like the dude on offense that once he perfected that ability to get whatever mid-range he wants and shoot it at basically the best clip in the league for someone with that level of volume, at least shoot the most amount of them with still a very high clip of like close to 50% on those mid-ranges. I believe might have been 52 for a while. I don't know if it ducked down, but like that ability to get that shot is what you look for at the end of a game, right? And when the teams are just in the playoffs are not letting you get to the rim. Not going to talk poorly about Jason Tatum's shot in any way. It's definitely not back to where it's been when it's at its peak, but he's had trouble in the playoffs scoring from 3 consistently anyway. So that's why he just turns into an amazing rebound and assist guy at that point. And it seems like Jaylen Brown is sort of the I got this last shot kind of guy at this point.
He's the reason the Celtics are so different from the last 2 years, even when they won the title, that they're not live and die by the 3 anymore, right? His mid-range ability, his handle, his improved physicality attacking the rim, and we saw him bring that in those Thunder and Spurs matchups that, we're kind of like get to the next level, and he's just trying to dunk on everybody all the time. It's that kind of leadership, that kind of physicality that I think could carry the Celtics through in an increasingly physical NBA, and I think that's why it's a good correlation here. It's like the Celtics are not winning the title with Jason Tatum's finesse game being the main weapon, right? They have to be strong and play through Brown.
I like that point. Yeah, I noticed you stayed away from any Celtics futures. I totally understand that. You just hope you're living on a hope and a prayer right now, and I think it's a good one. So I'll make those bets for you. But that is all the time we have for you guys in this one. Definitely make sure to subscribe to that channel. Like I said, we've got the first slate of play-in games for you for Tuesday. That's coming up here in just a little bit, and then we'll also have those Wednesday games coming up tomorrow for you guys. So we'll have those probably a little bit early as well. So best of luck, and until we see you next, happy betting.